Most traders think that getting a 100K funded account is about picking the right prop firm and essentially just getting lucky. And that is why 90% of traders keep failing over and over again. I've run my own prop firm for over 3 years, and before that, I was a full-time prop trader for 2 years. So I have seen firsthand and behind the scenes of who gets funded, who stays funded, and who repeatedly fails over and over again. And the pattern is painfully obvious. The traders who win build momentum before they even start the challenge, and the traders who lose start from cold and continue to wonder why they can't get past phase 1. So in this video, I'm going to show you the real path to getting funded in 2026. We'll talk about the momentum you need, the discipline that you're avoiding, and the execution standard that separates funded traders from the 90% of traders that fail. If you're serious about making 2026 the year that you finally get funded, this is where it all starts. Let's get into it. The very first thing that you need to realize if you're going to get funded in 2026 is that it all comes down to momentum. You see, you can be the best trader in the world, but if you are having a dry streak, if you are second guessing yourself, if you're doubting yourself every time you execute a trade, you're not going to get anywhere. Back up to 2021 when I took my first FTMO challenge and became a funded trader, I knew that momentum was key. And so what I did was I traded for several weeks before taking the challenge, and I ensured that each week I was ending it profitable. I don't care if I was up $1 or $100. I just needed to see that momentum. I needed to build that confidence. And that's exactly what I did. When I saw that each week, for about 3 or 4 weeks in a row, that I ended the week profitable, that my account had more money in it on Friday than it did on Monday, I knew that it was time to take a challenge. And I see so many traders ignore and neglect this step. They get overly excited about passing, about the prospect of becoming a funded trader, that they don't wait to take it at the right time. They're either struggling with their strategy, they're second guessing themselves. They're just struggling overall with that profitability, that they take the challenge regardless, and obviously without having any momentum, it's going to be so much harder to pass. So step number 1, it doesn't matter what kind of strategy you trade, whether you scalp, intraday trade, if you swing trade, it does not matter. The foundational first step to becoming a funded trader is making sure that you have momentum before you take the challenge. Now, the second step to becoming a funded trader is obviously risk management, but 99% of all risk management advice is essentially useless because nobody talks about your actual risk of ruin, which is the most important factor when it comes to not just your odds of success, but also emotionally and psychologically of how a loss should impact your approach to trading. So if we take a look here, this is a risk of ruin calculator that will tell you the percentage odds of you breaching your account, failing your challenge. So if we plug in a couple of different statistics here, let's say your win rate is 50%. Now, if you are somebody watching this and you think, oh, I have an 80%, a 90% win rate, I'm sorry, some influencer online has scammed you and it has told you that that is realistic, because obviously it is not. We're going to start at 50% and then we'll play around with the numbers from there. 50% win rate with an average risk to reward up 1 to 1. Risk per trade, 2% of your account balance. Now, again, a lot of traders online throw out that 2% number, so we're going to put it in here, and let's say you take 100 trades. Now, I put max drawdown as 7%. If you're taking a two-step challenge in the industry with a different prop firm, it will likely be a 10% max drawdown. However, I put 7% because at Lark Funding, the prop firm that I've been running for over 3 years, we have the highest drawdown in the industry for a one-step evaluation, which is 7%. So that's why I put 7% right there. Now, you can see your risk of ruin here is 70%, almost 71%, which means that if you take 10 challenges, you will fail 7 of them. And you need to go into the challenge knowing this, that it is a numbers game. Now, at face value, it should tell you one thing only, and it is that you are risking too much. So traders love to throw 1% per trade, 2% per trade, 0.5% per trade. But how do you actually know how much to risk? Well, it is dependent on your actual trading metric. So you need to obviously journal your trades or track your trades. Yes, boring stuff, but that's why most traders fail, because they don't do it. You need to plug in your actual statistics. So let's say here that these are roughly your normal stats. Well, clearly this is too much risk. So if we drop the risk to 1% per trade, your risk of ruin drops down to 45%. Now, what happens if you have a 55% win rate? It would then drop down from 46% to 17%. And now things are starting to get much more interesting, because you as a trader can say, if I take a challenge, right? If I fail that challenge, it's not necessarily me. It is just bad luck. It's luck of the draw based on these stats. Because if you take 10 challenges, you will pass 8 of them. And so if you fail 1 or 2, right, as frustrating as that is, you need to understand that the best traders in the world still have losses, and you need to integrate that principle into your actual strategy and your mindset. So if you want to basically guarantee yourself that you can pass, we would just continue to drop the risk per trade. You can see here, if we risk 0.5% per trade with an average win rate of 55% and an average risk reward of 1-to-1, which is very achievable, your risk of ruin is 2.2%, which means you're almost guaranteed to pass. Will it take you more trades? Yes. Will it take more time? Yes. But it's the traders that don't have patience that want to get funded this month rather than in the next 6 months. They're the ones that never actually get funded because they don't have the patience. So I highly encourage you, highly encourage you, if you want to succeed, you need to know these numbers. You need to plug your numbers in, and you need to integrate it into your approach. Tip number 3, when it comes to becoming a funded trader in 2026, is that it all comes down to A+ setups. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be harsh, but the truth is, if you take a prop firm challenge and fail, but you took B+ or B- setups, or many traders take C- setups, if you take those kinds of setups and fail the challenge, you literally only have yourself to blame. Many traders ask me, I've taken a couple of challenges, I'm failing. What is the problem? What am I doing wrong? Well, I look at their metrics, I talk with them, and they're taking weak setups. They're so excited to pass the challenge that they're not filtering their setups. They don't have the discipline that is required to say, you know what, this trade may or may not work out, but it doesn't fit my strategy perfectly. It's not an A+ setup, so I'm not going to take it. That really is what makes a massive difference for many traders. So right now, ask yourself, what does an absolutely perfect A+ setup look like based on your strategy? I'm sure you already know. Immediately, a few things come to mind. For me, it's having multiple confluences. So a 61 fib, a key level, a psychological level, multiple moving averages, you name it. Having all of those confluences for me is an A+ setup, and I'm sure you know what it is for you. Whatever that answer is, those are the only types of trades that you should be taking when it comes to taking a challenge and also on your funded account. By just increasing and improving your filter, you will become a much better trader. It's really that simple. Tip number 4 is to trade the account like it is already funded. Hopefully, or you're watching and you're thinking, yeah, as soon as I pass, that's when the discipline's going to come in. That's when, I only need to make 2% a month to cover all of my bills, so I'm not going to do anything crazy. Well, you should adopt that mindset during the challenge phase. Many traders on Twitter say, risk 3% per trade in the challenge phase, but then only 0.5% in the funded phase. And obviously, if you don't have that discipline in the challenge phase, it's not going to magically overnight transfer over to the funded stage. It's just wishful thinking. And so for me, when I had funded accounts, I only risked 0.5% per trade because I knew this was my golden ticket to full-time trading. I was not going to blow it. And as we saw with the risk of ruin calculator, by risking only 0.5% per trade, the odds of you blowing the account are so slim. And so I encourage you, it's all about quality over quantity. Treat the challenge like it is already a funded account. Tip number 5 is to execute like a monk. A lot of people talk about monk mode 2026, locking in. And, as cringy as it might be, there is a lot of truth to it. Executing like a monk can and will literally make all the difference. And when it comes to objective sort of activities behind, what does this actually mean to trade like a monk? It means that regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of what your emotions are, you continue to execute ruthlessly. Like a monk, you don't change anything. And when we apply this to trading and we think it through, it makes perfect sense, because regardless of what your strategy is, the key to success is allowing the law of large numbers to play out. You see, if If you're the best trader in the world, you're still going to experience losses. And we know this intellectually, but many of us don't know it intuitively, right? We can say it in our heads, oh, losses are a normal part of a game. But when we have losses in our stomach, in our chest, emotionally, it just messes with us so much. But we need to understand that regardless of how we feel, we need to continue executing the same way. And this is so important. If you take only one takeaway from this video, let it be this: that most traders fail because they mess with their strategy too soon. Rather than trying to find the perfect strategy, I believe that almost any strategy can work. Running a prop firm for over 3 years, I actually have the data on that. Literally any strategy can work if it is executed over a long enough period of time. Most traders mess with their strategy after 3, 4, 5 losses, right? Whereas the best traders focus on the sample size. They focus on taking 100 trades before they make any tweaks. And that's what monk mode is all about. It's about saying, I don't care what the results are of this trade or the next trade. I care about what the results are over 100 trades. And no matter what happens within that time period, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to continue to execute ruthlessly. If you're looking to take a prop firm challenge, I've been running Lark Funding for over 3 years. We are the only prop firm that pays you even if you are in drawdown. And like I said, we have the highest one-step drawdown in the industry at 7%. Let's make 2026 a great year. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.